Hi guys, it's Kara here from Aussie Tesla Family, and today I'm going to do a quick video on how much it costs us to charge our Tesla Model X. So I've been working a little bit on the numbers and I'm interested to hear some of your feedback about whether I'm on track with this or not, or from other Tesla owners if you have done your own calculations, whether I'm on track with those. So what we'll do is I'll firstly go through our weekly usage in terms of the kilometres that we drive, and then from that we'll look at converting those kilometres into kilowatt hours, and then from that then we can find out what the actual cost of charging is based on how much we pay for our electricity. So firstly, this is our family car, so it does get a reasonable amount of usage, but and we don't have big commutes into work or anything like that. So for us, I initially estimated we'd probably drive about, say, 20 kilometres each weekday during our working week routine, and then probably about 200 kilometres in total over the weekend when we travel to the coast or something like that. So roughly about 300 kilometres per week. So now that we've got a good idea of how many kilometres we travel, we can have a look at how many kilowatt hours that equates to. So how many kilometres you can get out of a kilowatt hour will depend on a few different variables. My understanding is it can depend on things like driving up hills, in a mountainous area, or the weather, whether it's very hot or very cold and you're cranking that climate control, and the battery also needs to work harder to keep it at the right temperature. How many passengers you've got in the car, your luggage, and things like that. And also, I think it comes down to how efficiently you drive also. So if you have a little bit of a lead foot and you like to take off fast at those lights, I think you might be sucking down that power fairly quickly. Also, keep in mind that the Tesla actually gives you a good idea of how much power you're using. Right on the dash display, right above your steering wheel, you can actually have a graph on there which shows you how much power you're using when you drive. Now, I've regularly had our usage down to well under 200 watt hours per kilometre, meaning we're getting about 5 kilometres out of every kilowatt hour. But on average, I think we're getting probably between 3 and 4 kilometres out of every kilowatt hour. So it's probably somewhere between 3 and 5 kilometres out of every kilowatt hour is probably pretty average. So with that, look, I've set a realistic rate of probably 3.5 kilometres per kilowatt hour. So if we look at that, we're looking at a weekly usage of about 85 kilowatt hours per week. Also, you should probably factor in that the battery itself does just lose charge while not being used. So you might want to factor in maybe 1 kilowatt hour per day. I don't know if that's an accurate estimate or not, but it's probably okay. So I'm going to add in, say, 7 kilowatt hours per week into that calculation. So now we've got that, we can go on to the cost. So for us, it's not only how much we're charging, but when, because we have solar at home. So we're with Origin Energy, and I've been looking at other providers, and I'll go into that a little bit later too. But for us, we have 2 tariffs. We've got our standard peak usage rate, which is 23 cents per kilowatt hour. And then whatever solar we generate that we don't use here at home, we get that fed back into the grid, and we make a measly 6 cents per kilowatt hour. So considering we get absolutely bugger all for what we can contribute back to the grid, we're best off really using that solar power. So that's what we try to do here at home. So if we looked at just using our solar to power our car, and we consider that 6 cents per kilowatt hour that we're not getting by not contributing it to the grid, and we're using it instead for our car, it's going to be a fairly cheap car to run, I guess, for the year, as you can see the numbers there. But obviously there is a large setup cost with solar. So if you want to factor that into, that's really going to skew these numbers quite a bit. But if you look at just powering the car on our normal peak tariff of 23 cents per kilowatt hour, then we'd be looking at a total cost of about $1,100 a year. So yeah, but also you need to consider that you can use the free supercharging. So even on a conservative estimate, we might use a supercharger, say for a few trips, say 50 kilowatt hours per month, which is pretty conservative, I think. So, you might save, over $100 there. But, you could potentially save a lot more by using the Tesla provided chargers more often. Like I said earlier, I did look into some of the electricity providers here in Queensland, and while I haven't done the switch yet, I'm thinking I might, because there is a couple of providers that we looked at that will probably provide a better deal for us. The providers I looked at were Origin, that's who we're currently with, Alinta, PowerShop and AGL. So to give you a bit of a summary in what I found looking at these guys, Alinta I think they're fairly new to Queensland. They've been pumping out those ads on the TV, the Flick Them ads. They have a higher solar feed-in tariff, but that's not really what we're looking for, because we want to just use the solar that we generate. But they've also got a super economy plan, which looks interesting. But from memory, I don't think they offer it to solar users. And from memory, it's they give you 2 tariffs, and one of the tariffs, if you use the power within the times that they define, it's a much reduced rate. So that does look interesting. PowerShop. Now this is the one that I liked, because one of the features that they offer is a smart meter. So you can see in real time how much power you're consuming. They also have a thing where you bulk buy your electricity in advance and you get a huge discount. So looking at the numbers, we'd probably save about $100 a quarter in switching to them. So that's probably what we're going to do. AGL, I did speak to someone in their customer service team, and my understanding is they do have a special plan for electric vehicles. So if you do go on the EV plan, the most you'll pay is $1 a day for your car charging, and you also get 10% off your home power bill. So that one's a good one to go with in terms of cost, but I've not heard good reviews about their customer service. And speaking from personal experience, I did find it really hard to understand them. So I do have a concern that if we did go with them and there was an issue, that maybe it might be a bit difficult to get resolved. So yeah, and Origin, that's who we are with at the moment. It was just the most expensive, so yeah. All right, so that's about it. If you have any questions or comments, get in touch and I'll do my best to respond. Cheers, guys.